Hi, this is Steve from PixelBump. Welcome to the AE Bootcamp tutorial on keying. There's a lot of different ways to key footage, but I'm going to take you through my process, which will help you key easily 90% of the shots that you'll ever have to key. To start off, let's take a look at our footage. We have a really nice piece of footage here of Lyra turning and looking just off camera. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is create a garbage mat. A garbage mat is just something that we're going to put around our subject to make the keyer have to do a little bit less. So that way we get fewer crunchy black and white areas and more of the soft gray that we want for the fine details in the hair. I'm going to drop Primat on here, and Primat's my keyer of choice, but if you have Adobe's Keylight, you can do this exact same process using that. So the first thing I want to do is just do a rough key around Lyra. And once I've got that rough key, I'm going to come down, and with my layer selected, I'm going to go to Auto Trace. Now when you come into Auto Trace, a lot of these options are not going to look like this. Let's just go back to about what it would look like normally. This is pretty close to what you're going to get when you first come in, and this is really fairly unusable. So the first thing I want to do is blur out the alpha. That's going to give me fewer areas that it's going to try to mask. Then I'm going to change the threshold up a bit. Try to just get fewer and fewer of these rogue areas. And 2 is fine, we can delete those later. We want to make sure we set the entire thing to the work area and then hit OK. It's going to take a minute to chew through all this footage, but at the end we'll have a really nice animated track mat that's holding very tight to our subject. Alright, so now we have our mask. Let's go ahead and take a look, and we can see it's animating really nicely. None of our Lyra is not popping out of the mask at all, so I think we can go to the next step, which is to delete these other extra elements that we don't need. So we're just left with the one mask that we want. Alright, now that we have our mask, we can go back, reset our key, turn the mask to add, and now we only have to worry about keying this small area around Lyra. We don't have to worry about any of these areas here. So it makes the keyer a lot easier to work with. So let's come in, we'll select our area. Next thing we want to do is look at this in a black and white mode so we can really clearly see where we still have some noise. And down here we definitely have some. Alright, that is looking pretty darn good right there. So let me go ahead and bring this back to comp. Now a problem with a lot of keyers is you're gonna get a disruption of the video. It's gonna get pretty noisy because it's trying to crunch out a lot of color. So to get rid of that, you're gonna want to remove some of the grain. And again, my favorite plugin for this is Neat Video's plugin for reduced noise. You can use the one that comes with After Effects. It is very good as well. I just prefer this one. And I'll come in here, I'll hit options, I'll auto profile, auto fine tune, and hit apply. And you can see really quickly, we've lost all of that noise, but we haven't really lost any detail. You know, just as a comparison, let me come down and I'll just use the remove grain filter out of After Effects. We'll go to final output, and let's come into the noise reduction settings. Let's bring it up just a bit. And that's looking pretty good too. You can definitely see a huge difference. Again, I just prefer Neat Video's plugin, but remove grain will work just as well. Alright, so now we've got a really nice piece of footage here. We've got a little bit of spill, but that's okay for the moment. Let's get our background in and really see what we're dealing with. Okay, so we want to get rid of some of this green here. And Adobe has put in a really nice new spill killer in the new version of After Effects, the Advanced Spill Killer. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to drop that on, and you can see it's really just immediately removed all of that crunchy green right on out of there. Alright, the last thing I'm going to want to do is bring in a curves adjustment on the top of this. And all I really want to do is make sure I don't lose any of those highlights, but I want to bring those black levels down a bit to where they more closely reflect our background. This is supposed to be integrated into a night shot. Let's go ahead and make it look like night. Take a look at that. And I am pretty darn happy with that key. We can see down here in this corner, we still have a little bit of noise to clean up. So I'm going to just come in, I'm going to clean up that background a little more, and there we go. That's looking pretty good. Maybe we should come in, defocus the matte just a little bit, shrink it in just a touch. There we go. Looking better and better. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is probably to use a light wrap around Lyra to get some of the reflected light from the background onto our foreground subject, thereby integrating it a little better. And it just so happens that's the next video. So I hope you join us in the next AE Bootcamp on light wrap. Thanks so much for watching. Go and create.